Hey guys, I'm Michael Kedlitz. I play Abraham Ford on The Walking Dead, and you are listening to the Dave and Creech podcast.
This is the Dave and Creech Show, the only podcast where podcaster CJ Creech and actor Dave Sheridan come together to talk all things entertainment with your favorite entertainers. Want to ask our guests a question? Tweet them to @DaveSheridan or @CJCNOV88, and they may be asked to our guests live on the show. We do have to ask you stay seated during the podcast because this ride may get a little bit hilarious. Now here's your hosts, Dave and Creech.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 53 of the Dave and Creech Show. My name is CJ Creech, and I have once again a special guest host today. I am here with Mr. Christoper Berry. Hey Christoper, how's it going, man?
Well, you know, it's life, man. Ups and downs.
I hear that.
You know, last week was pretty rough, but, I'm back home in New Orleans, chilling with my dogs. You know, just trying to maintain, man. How you been?
I've been, pretty decent. Just doing a lot of the podcast, and Dave is working on finishing his house, and, it's been, like, he's had a really long build on that house.
On, man. Well, tell him I said good luck with it. I hope things work out for him. I don't mean to switch the subject, but I was just thinking about this, and you got a chance to interview Sonequa. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. I interviewed Sonequa last year. 2 years ago. Sorry, it was
okay.
right after the. It was actually right after the season 5 finale.
Okay.
And
all right. Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. She was amazing, and even though we talked about this a little bit prior to the way she went out, but she's just the nicest person, and I'm really glad that she booked that lead role on the new Star Trek, because I think she's gonna absolutely kill the role.
Oh yeah, she's gonna be great, and I can't wait to see the angle that they come from with Star Trek, being that they haven't had a. Let's see, the last one was what, Star Trek Enterprise, and that was with Scott Bakula, right? Yeah,
it's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. Well, cool, man. I can't wait. I've sort of revisited that interview. I wasn't exactly sure when you'd done it, but I watched it again the other day. I listened to it, and it was cool. It just reminded me of working with her, man. How she was really one of the brightest ones on set that day. Just really, really very sweet and very helpful, and just kind of I really felt like just welcome. And a lot of times you don't feel that way when you're just a day player, but she really did make me feel welcome. So I got nothing but good things to say about her. Well, I checked out the stuff that you gave me, and some of these clips you sent me, some of the weird news, just cracking me out, dude.
I know, yeah. Thankfully, this week is a lot better than we had last week. There wasn't really any good weird news last week, so we just talked normal news. But yeah, I think I might have hit a treasure trove this week.
Well, I can tell you, man, that the real news is just ridiculous. It's almost like weird news, to be honest with you.
This is a political moment.
America, fuck yeah!
Paid for by the people that think America is fucking awesome.
America, fuck yeah!
I'm Dave Sheridan, and I approve this message, I think.
Right, yeah. Most of the news today, I guess, technically could be classified and found in the weird news section. I mean, just everything that's going on. Like, apparently, Hitler did not use chemical weapons to kill the Jews, which blows my mind.
Apparently, chlorine, cyanide gas and Zyklon B are not considered chemical weapons now.
Yeah.
That's an alternative historical fact right there.
Exactly.
And apparently concentration camps are Holocaust centers.
Yeah.
It wasn't. They weren't death camps. They weren't work camps. They weren't concentration camps. They were Holocaust centers. Which, if you just didn't know what the word Holocaust meant, it sounded as if you could go and play ping pong there. I mean, just freaking weird. And,
yeah,
that's just the latest on the spicy, But
yeah, I really feel like this is like some kind of practical joke on like America, and we're just in some weird, twisted reality show at this point.
Yeah,
it's just very weird.
And the thing that really that gets me more than anything is this thing. It's just like well, for one thing, Trump just lies and just expects people to. I mean, he'll lie about something he said on tape, and you could show him the tape, and he'll just look at you and say, "No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I didn't say that." But what gets me is that it's like Congress is sort of just taking it upon themselves to follow suit. So when the President of the United States literally conducts an unconstitutional military action against a sovereign nation, it's cool. But when the former president wants to do the exact same thing and goes through the Constitution and goes and asks permission, no, I'm not going to do that. But, I mean, you can literally compare the two events side by side, and apparently Congress just doesn't expect the American people to give shit. And I guess, I don't know, man, I'd say there's probably a large section of Americans that just are totally fine with that kind of double standard, hypocritical kind of thing. It's just kind of blows my mind. I mean, I feel like since January, I just feel like it's just been this long, sort of continuous, steady, everyday gaslighting that's going on, where it's just normal is now abnormal is now normal, black is now white, up is now down, and it's kind of weird. It kind of gets your noodle around, man. There's days where I've literally had to just not turn on the television, not look at the computer, because I just can't. I just had to detox myself from all the bizarre bullshit that seems to be an everyday occurrence nowadays.
Oh yeah. There's definitely a it's a welcome change for me to go through the weird news and get to see all of this weird stuff the weirder stuff that happens,
right.
Because the world in and of itself is kind of a parody right now, so it is.
It's like a simulacrum of normality. It's like an alternate dimension. That's what it is. So a Canadian rapper gets checked by a deer. It's almost like that's about par for the course in the world we live in.
Yeah. It's like, and at the same time, you're like, why can't more people get attacked by a deer? Because maybe that'll take up all of the news. Maybe there's some mass deer attacks just happening of these just taking out rappers everywhere.
Rappers versus deer.
Exactly.
Well, I'm watching a video, and this one, it was a doe. Now, and she apparently was running from a dog, and she just slams into this guy. To me, it looks just like a wrong place, wrong time. The deer was just, get out of the way. I'm running from a dog, and he just happened to be in the way. Which, it's unfortunate, but I mean, at least the guy wasn't hurt. Now, have you seen the clip of and this is not a doe, this is a buck, that was up on its hind legs, attacking a hunter with a rifle in his hand, who was trying to shoot it with it, and just pummeling this guy with its forelegs. Have you ever seen that clip?
I don't think I've seen that one. It does sound a little familiar, though.
You should try and Google it and see if you could find it. It's on YouTube somewhere, I know. But it's crazy. And to me, the most remarkable thing about that clip that I found was that the wife of this hunter, I'm assuming it's his wife, because I think I have a woman's voice, yelling behind the camera. But they just filmed it. They continued to film it. They didn't, stop and try to render aid or anything like that. She just kept on filming, which if you saw somebody that was, a loved one or friend or whatever being attacked by a fucking buck, you would think that there'd be something that you could do other than just. I'm glad glad she did, because that was good comedy gold. Came away all right, but I'm pretty sure the deer came away all right too, because the dude was not able to use his gun on it.
Yeah, I do have to say I'm really glad we're in this day and age, because, you know, when I was a kid, if I wanted to see animals attack, I had to wait till Fox would have a special, you know, at 8 o'clock at night,
right,
just to watch, you know, people get like mauled, like, you know, like that kangaroo that got in the fight with that one guy. That went on there. Like, I would have to wait for like once in a blue moon for Fox to release a When Animals Attack special, but now it's all available at like push of a button on the internet, and it's amazing.
Oh yeah.
Wonder to think, you know, maybe a conspiracy theorist in me, but maybe like these animals are starting to revolt because of, you know, the whole political thing, and they're going to overthrow our government, like Planet of the Apes style, and you know. It doesn't seem too far-fetched now, just with how crazy everything is. I wouldn't be surprised.
Well, you know, I hate to sound, you know, pragmatic, but it would probably be for the best. So, we talked about this, we texted back and forth about this recently, but let's talk about the season finale of The Walking Dead, just for a second.
Yes.
What would you say, let's say on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you give 10, of course, being highest rating, and 1 being the lowest? Where would you put it?
Honestly, and people are probably going to be mad and hate me for it, but I would rate it like a 5. And I think that's being generous.
Yeah, man. I honestly, and I'm probably going to get hated for this too, but I would give it probably about 6. And I think I'm being overly generous too. But it just, I'm going basically just off of what I felt when I was finished watching it. And, you know, say what you want about the big giant cliffhanger from the last season. I at least was totally into the show the entire time. I was engaged the entire time. I was in it. And it just seemed like this current, most recent finale was just, half the time I felt compelled to check my email, or I just wasn't in it, you know. The betrayal by the scavengers was completely unsurprising. Like you and I have discussed before, I don't even know why it was there. I guess they were thrown in for certain plot devices that, you know, I can criticize the writing because I'm not a writer. I probably couldn't have done any better, but I don't really understand what the purpose was for them other than to just be a handy foil to betray Rick and his group at the last minute. And sort of had to. But then once again, you've got Rick on the ground, Lucille being bent over him, and by that point, by the time I got to the point where Rick is on the ground, I'm just thinking, oh God, this again. He gets shot in the kidney, which doesn't seem to be a problem. You know, it doesn't seem to be a problem.
Yeah, no, that was a really quickly forgotten plot device, it seemed.
Yeah. At the end, he's sitting in and they see all these people in hospital beds or makeshift hospital beds, or you assume that's what they're there for, you know. Michonne's been beaten so badly, you know, really bad, but Rick's just sitting there by him, and I'm just thinking to myself, well, is he not bleeding out? I mean, is he not having renal issues? He was just shot in the kidney. What's going on? Apparently that's not a big deal. We do. You know, the fighting itself it just looked to me like a bunch of people who were shooting off fake guns. There was no connection between what they were aiming at, and they never shot anybody. Anybody gets shot. I mean, it's kind of important that in a show where, you know, you're fighting a gun battle, to sort of show the back and forth of the battle, and to show the results of you shooting the gun. You know, and I almost never, I can't recall really hardly ever seeing anybody shot. I was seeing somebody shooting the gun, and I was seeing who they were shooting. That never really happened. I mean, we saw some people on the ground bleeding, but that was about it. We talked about this as well. Who in the hell was training Shiva to determine who was the bad guy and who was the good guy? I'd love to meet that guy. Apparently, tigers are just absolute experts in discerning, Alexandria free zone people from saviors and scavengers. So that was just weird. That's a gigantic plot hole that I just can't. I mean, it was cool. Don't get me wrong. Who doesn't like to see a tiger mauling somebody? But, and also, why the hell did they just shoot that tiger? I mean, if I'm standing 10 feet away from a tiger that's eating somebody and I'm holding an automatic weapon in my hand, I'm going to unload a clip in a tiger.
Exactly.
Why did that tiger come away unscathed? I mean, I understand that the sheer shock value of it, all of a sudden there's a tiger. But, there's fight or flight instinct for a reason, and I would assume that after the flight instinct kicked in, somebody at least would have had that fight instinct kicked in as well, to kill the fighter. So I don't know, man. It seems to me like The Walking Dead has gone on a really weird path recently. And to be honest, I think a lot of the ideas that translates really well in a graphic novel, I'm not entirely convinced they translate well into a TV show. And at least in this particular TV show. I just remember when I first started watching The Walking Dead, the very first season was so unlike anything else. Like, just the whole premise of this guy getting shot in the line of duty and then literally waking up from the hospital, still in his, hospital robe or gown or whatever, having to come to terms with the fact that the world itself has literally fallen apart and dead people walking around. He tried to eat you. I mean, that's just, it was interesting. It was dark, and it was just really, really unique and compelling. And now I don't know, man. It's gotten to be it's almost Mad Max-ish without the desert and the cars, And I have to wonder if society would really devolve to the point that I'm seeing in the show. I mean, would it really break down along those lines in such a drastic way where Negan would have so much power, or someone like Negan would execute his power in such a way? I don't know. It begs the question. I mean, I'm not over it. I still love the show, but I'm not necessarily sure that I'm on board with the direction that it's going. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I completely agree, and I do feel the same way. I mean, and there's the one thing I hate when you try to voice your opinion, especially to some of these hardcore Walking Dead fans, is if you dog the show, they're like, well, you're not a true fan then. Well, I mean, you can still be a true fan and expect more than what you're being given.
Sure.
And
sure.
I feel the same way. I feel like you said, the season 6 ending had that hook. From that point on, it just kind of, I don't necessarily want to say jump the shark, but from that point on, it's been really hit or miss with the show quality. I mean, and I get that they have to introduce, obviously, all of those bottle episodes, because, I mean, basically the first half of the season was bottle episode after bottle episode. We're trying to establish the community, so then, the attack that happens in the finale makes sense, and it kind of, quote, builds to that. But after seeing after the brutality of the first episode, and then, it takes 3 episodes to get to them picking up from leaving there, because then you go into the Daryl episode, and then to the hilltop and all that, and it's just I felt like that going to all those bottle episodes that quickly kind of definitely hurt the flow of the show, and honestly, they should have cut those together, those episodes and interspersed. It's just this whole season was horribly paced, and I don't think a lot of fans were still too happy about the whole Glenn thing, since when they faked his death last season and then waited 3 or 4 episodes to pick up, and now they they killed Glenn this time, but then still, to find out any real fallout, you have to wait 4 or 5 episodes.
Right.
I think it just sat kind of wrong with people, and like one of the biggest travesties of this show so far is they try to balance so much, but like they're completely forgetting about characters. Like the whole thing with Tara, for instance. I can't remember what episode. I think it was episode 6 is when we finally saw what happened, what Tara had been up to. But by that point,
right.
It had lost all emotional impact because, Tara left, and then obviously Denise died in season 6. But then to wait 8 episodes to get that reaction, by that point we've already lost Glenn and Abraham, and nobody really cares. Like, okay,
right.
well, Tara's a little
right.
sad, so what? And then, to top that off, they also, it had been 8 episodes or whatever since we had seen Heath. Like, I remember the comments on Twitter when the first Tara episode aired this season, and nobody remembered who Heath was because, Walking Dead spent so little time on him last season, and then
right.
he disappears, and nobody's even addressed it since that episode. What happened to Heath?
Right.
Like, Tara came back, and, they told her about the doctor, and she found out everything else, but nobody has mentioned Heath at all. And, I mean, I get that. I'm assuming the reason why his fate is left kind of unknown is because he had to go film the 24 reboot
right.
or whatever that they were doing. But still, it's kind of odd writing that nobody would care to even mention, hey, where's Heath? What happened to Heath?
Right. Right, exactly. And the thing is if you don't kind of keep those threads going, you lose those threads, and having to reinsert them is just, like you said, it messes with the flow. It messes with the pacing. And I don't know, man. Also, like, when they went to the ocean side and took all their guns, it was just weird to me because Tara she had this secret all along, and she really, really felt strongly about not betraying these people. And then somehow, within the course of one episode, or just a few minutes of one episode, she's totally fine with it, and she has no regrets. And it just seemed it's just inconsistent and weird to me. I don't know. I was, and the thing is, I have to, full disclosure here. I don't fault the actors. I don't fault the cast, and I don't fault necessarily the individual directors of the episodes per se. It's really, I think it's with Gimple. It really does sort of, the buck stops with him. And I don't want to. I'm not criticizing that as a creative guy. I mean, obviously he's got some great talent, but I don't know, man. I think there's something going on with the overall big picture that there needs to be an adjustment. And the thing is that, if this writer strike happens, they're going to have plenty of time to figure out how to fix it, because they're not going to be there. There won't be any. They're not going to be shooting. And episode 8. I mean, season 8's not going to be shooting until the writer strike is resolved, and that strike is due to start May 2nd.
Yeah, May 2nd, and that's mere weeks before pre-production, or actually production's supposed to begin on season 8.
There needs to be some rethinking of how they're presenting it to us, because I just, and honestly, just from a rating standpoint, I mean, sure, there's still a huge show, and it's still got, fantastic ratings by just any objective standard, but their ratings have seen a significant drop in this last season, and I think there's reason for it. I don't think you and I are the only two people who feel like that there are some systemic issues with the show.
Oh yeah. That you bring up the ratings. I know. I read an article that stated that the season 7 finale was the lowest watched finale since season 2.
That can't be good. Now, there may be some tweaking going on as far as, like, people. There might have been some things. I don't really know what was shown that night, but there might have been some things that were in competition with it that knocked it down numbers wise a little bit. And I'm pretty sure the hardcore fans watched it, and then even if the semi-hardcore fans probably at least TiVo'd it. But which I TiVoed anyway, just in case I miss it for some reason. I actually watched it live, but I remember halfway through thinking, I've got this TiVoed. Maybe I might decide to do something else, and watch the rest of it later. But I didn't. I ended up, getting through it, and it helped me enough to just like, okay, I've got. Are they going to really, really piss the fan base off and kill off Carl? Because I didn't think that was going to happen, but it was just that might have been a twist that I had never in a million years would imagine was coming, and so I had to see if that was going to happen, and it didn't. Although it might have actually been. I'm probably going to get lambasted for saying this, but that might have actually been an interesting choice. If they had Negan kill Carl, and then right after that happened, that's when, all the cavalry comes in to save him. But they didn't. They kind of went with the way that, in retrospect, was pretty damn predictable.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I wish they had, done it differently somehow. And it's really not fair for me to say that because I can't offer an alternative to how I wish they would have done it. But it's going to be unfair in saying that. I really do wish they'd done it differently.
Yeah, well, I didn't even watch it live. I caught the replay because every year the Walking Dead finale always falls on the same night as WrestleMania. And that's usually the one event that I don't want to miss. But for the longest time, I actually always, I used to always watch The Walking Dead. For instance, the one that you premiered in, where they did the Into the Badlands and they showed your scene. Like, I actually watched that Walking Dead live. I think that was, the end of season 5?
It was, actually.
Well, the mid-season?
Middle of 6. Mid-season 6.
Mid-season 6, yeah. Yeah, I actually... I don't know if that was WrestleMania then, but it was, I know I actually watched that live, and there was a wrestling event, and then I did watch that year's, the one with Negan in the lineup, that finale. I watched that instead of WrestleMania, but this year I didn't even think of twice about it. I was like, I'll catch The Walking Dead on replay, just because it wasn't anything that I was looking forward to in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, the Negan one, you just couldn't. You had to watch it. The whole lineup thing. You had to. There was no getting around it. It was probably the biggest. Hold on just a second. It was probably, it was something everyone was waiting for so long that, you couldn't not watch it if you call yourself a Walking Dead fan. So that, I totally understand. But I don't know. I think maybe it's possible that the showrunners piss enough people off because of that they might have actually lost some viewers or live viewers. Well, that in combination with the fact that I think this season has been extraordinarily weak. This last season, and maybe there's no other way to do it because the dynamic was so shifted. And honestly, as much as I love Jeffrey Dean Morgan, I started to get kind of sick of seeing him threaten people constantly in a clever way. It was just like, okay, we get it. You totally rule everything, and you're a very witty person. Drop it for a second. I would really love to see Negan just kind of be serious for a second and kind of drop the shtick. But he never does. And it just, I don't know, maybe I got a little bit too much of that. And the whole Eugene character, that's another thing. I'm just kind of like, wow, is that really what's happened? Eugene is just a big spineless sack of shit?
Yeah,
that's really what it is?
That really caught me off guard, because that is one of the big changes, one of the only changes, and it's odd that the changes that they do to throw off the comic fans are usually now they're really not good changes. But yeah, no, it's just with him being spineless and seemingly, no matter how you cut it, it's his fault that Sasha's dead.
Right.
It's just crazy that I just can't imagine any way of this paying off where Eugene is not going to look I don't see any way of him becoming a hero out of this, because no matter what, he's going to have the blood of Sasha on his hands, and as you can see, Rick already was willing to kill him.
I would much rather Eugene be sort of being clever and sort of working it from the inside, and for all of us to kind of figure out that, Eugene's doing what he can in his capacity, the only way he can. But to see him just completely sell out, and because he's comfortable and because he's got Atari and fucking pickles, it's just pathetic,
This whole season in and of itself's been disappointing. Like, either it's been way over the top, like we discussed with the Garbage Pail Kids,
right?
The horrible.
And honestly, full disclosure, I think I like the actors that are in that. I mean, I've got Carrie Cahill, the Archer. She's a really good friend of mine. I think she's a fantastic actress. She's doing great. Tom Murphy, also one of the scavengers. I think he's great. Pollyanna McIntosh, I think she's great. But I just feel like I don't know why they're here, why they're what they're doing, and I don't understand the dialect that they're assigned to them. It's just strange to me. It just feels contrived, and I don't like it when I sense that something feels contrived. Yeah. There's not even any mention of it, like, why do they talk so funny? Well, maybe the zombie apocalypse does that, maybe the Walker apocalypse does that to some people or whatever, I don't know. But there was never any attempt to sort of explain it, other than I think on, The Talking Dead. But, it seems to me like there needs to be something in the actual show that sort of gives us an idea of why they choose to live in a junkyard, why they talk like they do, why they dress like they do, And there's none of that. I mean, you get that from sort of, outside sources, and I feel like it would serve the show better if they just took a minute or a few minutes to try to, tie that tighter and give us some sort of idea of who these people are, other than just, vague sort of sayings like, we take, we don't bother. I mean, what does that even mean? I mean, do you have any idea what that means?
No, I don't. I don't understand. I still don't understand anything from the haircut all the way down to them riding bicycles, which seem to not be the smartest mode of transportation, to even more absurdly the garbage trucks. Like, I mean,
the garbage trucks are just like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, is there just 2 or 3 people in the seat? Do they actually put people in the garbage part? Like, I don't understand what's the purpose for that. That just seems like a waste of gas and resources to get people around.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I mean, let's talk about the gas for a second, too. I mean, let's be honest. Any usable gas in the world at this point in time, they'd have to be manufacturing themselves like Nigerians do. They'd have to be actually manufacturing gasoline themselves. It wouldn't do, because any gas that's at this point in time would just degrade it to be unusable. Vehicles would not be working unless you're actually making gasoline. You're finding gasoline from crude oil. So that in and of itself is kind of crazy. But in Pollyanna McIntosh's defense, however, I will say the haircut was a hairstyle that she had said she had worn on a project that had just wrapped just before she had gotten that role, and the producers wanted to continue with it. So, and I'm not bothered by the bangs. I mean, I've got my hair hasn't been cut in months. It's down. I look like a homeless guy. So, I can't really, I can't judge anybody on their haircuts. But the lingo and the way they speak, and the fact that they're just living in a junkyard and driving around in trash trucks, it's just kind of strange. And I just feel like if they sort of tried to, flesh this other group out a little bit better. I mean, even the Oceanside people, I understand why they're doing. They live where they live and why they are like they are. They gave a good enough explanation to where I bought into the Oceanside camp, and I believe them. I mean, they seem believable to me. The fact that there's no men kind of shocked me at first until I found out it was because the Favors killed them all. So, I totally get that. But what I don't get is, all of a sudden, these junkyard scavengers, they cut a deal with Negan. What? I don't know. I don't know. It just seemed a little too contrived and too convenient for me.
Yeah, but, it's like they didn't know anything apparently about Negan, and they're more concerned with, like you said, taking and not bothering. Well, Negan takes too, and he's gonna want. I mean, I would assume if he didn't ask for half of their stuff or any support of their supplies, the Saviors might not be too happy about that either. So I don't see how this would technically have worked out in their benefit to begin with.
Well, yeah, I mean, since when does Negan cut deals with anybody? To be honest with you.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't cut a deal with Hilltop. He imposed his will on Hilltop. Same thing with the Kingdom, same thing with the Alexandrians. So we're supposed to believe all of a sudden that the Junkyard Gang is just naturally able to cut a deal with Negan, and Negan's going to honor it because what? Because they don't bother? I don't know, man. It just, none of it made any sense to me whatsoever. But like I said, I don't blame that on the actors, and I don't blame that necessarily on the individual directors. I just honestly think this was sort of, whoever in the writer's room came up with this, this concept and this idea, and then whoever signed off on it and everything, I don't think they really, it feels like they didn't think it through all the way. And, and for the most part, I would say that I've never really felt that about the show. For the most part, I have to say that the way things have gone from season one till now, most of the time it seems like it's been pretty well thought out, and there's been a decent flow,
like we were talking about, hopefully if this writer's strike goes down, hopefully that'll give them some time to definitely make sure the quality is much improved. For sure. Hopefully.
Well, I hope so, man, because, and to be honest with you, I'm with the writers on this one. I do believe they should be compensated fairly, and their wages have been going down steadily, and it's not cool, and it's not just them, actually. The producers have a lot of power in this business, and they make a lot of money for the networks, and consequently for themselves. And it's like anything else, wage inequality is it's not just limited to, CEOs and corporations. Think about it. These companies are corporations. So it's not just limited to Wall Street. I mean, there's income inequality all over the place out there, and I side with the writers. I think they need to stand up to this. I honestly hope that the strike does not happen, because if it does, TV and television and films and the whole industry as a whole is going to suffer on multiple levels. The last time there was a really big writer's strike, we ended up seeing the rise of reality television, which I honestly don't think that was culturally a good thing for anybody.
No, yeah, you're right. That's when Jersey Shore blew up.
Mm-hmm.
I was pretty mad at that. I mean, I understood why they were striking, but Breaking Bad, that was around the time of the first season, and it had a short season. The only one that had a short run, because they could only do so many episodes, and it also hurt Prison Break as well. Actually,
right.
there was originally going to be the season that it wound up. It was getting. I think it was season 3, and that was my least favorite season now. But I understand why, because they tried to rush through to get it started. But there was actually supposed to be a spinoff that they were going to go with as well, but that got completely canceled because of the strike.
Right.
But yeah, there's so many shows great shows that now are going to be delayed. I mean, I don't think Game of Thrones or anything like that. I'm pretty sure they're already filming now. But yeah, I mean, this is going to definitely, if it happens, which I agree with you, I'm on the writer's side as well. It's definitely going to hurt television, and hopefully we don't see the rise of all the reality stuff again.
Well, I mean, at one point you couldn't change channels, and you couldn't go 6 channels without at least 5 of them being reality TV. And, I mean, look at what we have now. We've got a president who's literally a reality TV star. So, I mean, and it's just not, it's not good. It's not good.
Exactly.
It's kind of important for society to have good stories, I mean, humans are gregarious creatures, and we, since, the days of sitting around a campfire roasting saber-toothed tiger, we tell stories, it's what we do. And, there is a certain sort of schadenfreude to watching, these real life people, doing crazy stuff in the real world. But, Schadenfreude is not true entertainment. And to really, kind of have a balance of healthiness as far as our storytelling is concerned, we can't turn on TV and just stare at real people all the time. It's especially when these people are really encouraged to be as insane and crazy and dysfunctional as they possibly can for entertainment value. It's not good. So, I don't know. Well, I guess we'll see. I mean, after May 2nd, if they do end up striking, we should probably revisit this subject to see how it's affecting all of us, because it is an important kind of story to keep your eye on.
For sure, and there'll definitely be effects of this felt for a long time after, because, I mean, right now, movie-wise, it's not going to really affect anything big tentpole movies-wise, because probably most of the major movies for the next 2 years are either already filming or have filmed. I know, you have a small role in Spiderman that comes out this year, and they're hard at work on the next one,
Right.
the Avengers. But, come 2-3 years from now, we'll still be feeling the effects, because at that point, the movies that were going to be in pre-production or starting production maybe in a couple of months will now be delayed. So then there's going to be a lull in the big name movies in theaters as well.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. So and that just encourages reruns or redos, reboots, and things of that nature. And they're not legally allowed to use non-union writers. So I don't really know how it's going to end up if this strike goes on for any length of time. There's a ripple effect, though, I can tell you that much.
Oh.
And it will have negative consequences for everyone involved. It's just that ultimately hopefully the Writers Guild and the Producers Guild can come to some sort of equitable agreement.
Now that we've covered the news, I did send you a link to view a documentary I shot on professional wrestler Kevin Phoenix, who is our guest today. What did you think about it?
So, just full disclosure, I'm not much of a wrestling fan, so I don't know too much about that world. I was looking at some of the footage and seeing how bloody some of these guys are, and I have to wonder if they sustain these injuries for real, or do they cause themselves injuries just to up the histrionic value, or what? It's really interesting.
Yeah, it's very crazy. Like, they'll for instance, one of the matches that he bled in, he was popping aspirin all day to increase his blood flow. And then, at first I just thought he may have had some kind of weird all-day headache. But then, as he was getting ready, he was taping his wrist, and he pulls out this little razor blade and sticks it in part of the tape, and then puts tape over that. And at that point, I knew what he was going to do. And then, in actuality, I was just filming him, focusing on him when we were filming the match. But, I actually got him cutting his forehead with it. And I was just like,
wow.
It's brutal.
Yeah, no shit. It seems like some of those guys go to pretty great lengths. I mean, especially with the metal folding chairs and shit. That just it makes you wonder, because most sports they're sort of monitored, and especially even for film and stuff. We do fight scenes. They have a stunt coordinator there, and they just make sure everything is completely 100% above board and safe. I often wonder what kind of regulations or monitoring do they have in that particular area of entertainment. It seems like it's a lot laxer than it would be in other situations.
Yeah, it's very weird, because it is entertainment, but it's every state, the actual sports commissions still govern it, and they all are different. I noticed in one of the matches I filmed in South Carolina, South Carolina here is basically, if for some reason they can't blade themselves in South Carolina, and if they accidentally get busted open anyway, nosebleed, cut on their arm, whatever, they have to end the match within 30 seconds or they'll get fined thousands of dollars.
Wow. But then again, someplace like West Virginia, it might be completely different.
Yeah, I was filming him in North Carolina, and everybody was bleeding.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
you didn't even need, cause like in South Carolina, you can't train in a wrestling ring or wrestle without having a wrestling license, but North Carolina was just like, you didn't have to have one to train. So,
Wow.
but like, yeah, like literally every match, I was like, wow, these people they're just bleeding everywhere. It's so crazy how different each, state is.
Is there a predetermined winner? I mean, there seems that there sort of has to be, especially in a match like when Kevin was fighting Chaos, and the whole premise of that final cage match was that he was literally fighting not only for the title, but he was also fighting to keep his contract. So you would think that the outcome of that one would definitely be that Cable would finally go down, simply because they don't want to just completely kick Kevin to the curb. I mean, he's obviously shown that people like him. He's beneficial to his contract is beneficial to the organization. So
yeah,
I wonder if they. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, yeah. The craziest thing about that is it's one of those things. Like I said, when I shot so much footage and it just didn't fit in the story we were trying to tell in the documentary, because I didn't want to go into too much behind the scenes stuff. But like the funny thing about that storyline was originally Kevin was gonna lose, and they literally at the last minute, right before he went out, they changed it. Mm-hmm. They're like, okay, you're gonna win instead. So then, like, they're hustling back there trying to figure out, okay, well, how are we going to get to this ending now? What are we going to change to do it? Because originally, until, like 2 minutes before his theme music hit, he was going to lose. But, they changed it on the fly, and then, that was pretty crazy as well, yeah. Because I had two cameras rolling, so I was already out there, so I didn't even know that they were going to change it. So I was focusing on Kevin with my camera because I was like, okay, we're going to catch the emotion of losing the match and whatever. And then it caught me off guard because when they called it, I didn't know. I was just like, wow.
Wow. Yeah, because you thought he was going to lose.
Yeah. I went in, because and even he had told me he was going to lose. And then they, when they were going over the match before people were coming in, they had already went over the spot where he would lose. But then, they continued on, and then, they had gotten changed right before they came out, and I was none the wiser, so it caught me off guard, too.
Oh, wow, that's crazy. I bet you were like, what the hell's happening?
Yeah, I looked at my other camera guy, I was like, because I had told her that he was going to lose, too, and then he wins, and we're just like, what just happened?
That's pretty funny.
But it definitely had a better end to it with him winning for sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was pretty effective. He pulled it off there at the last minute, and it was just kind of like, oh, okay. Because I mean, he would look like he was getting dominated pretty much. I mean, I didn't see the entire match, of course. I just saw what was in the doc, but it looked like he was getting dominated throughout most of it.
Oh yeah. Without any further ado, here is our interview with Kevin Phoenix. To those who don't know, even though we've already introduced you, you are known as professional wrestler Kevin Phoenix, and you had a documentary that I shot. It's almost been two years ago, actually, which is really crazy. But,
yeah, I know, time has passed.
But since then, your career has continued to rise and climb. You've gone overseas multiple times. You've gotten some endorsements for your new group from pretty big names in the wrestling industry. So, just for the listeners out there who have been following you or at least have watched the documentary, let's pick up a little bit right where, let's say, January 2016, you had just came back from England. So what started with the whole thing you're doing now, E&D? Where were the seeds planted for that?
The whole E&D came about when we needed an idea for WrestleForce in Columbia, South Carolina. And I was approached to I was approached to get a group together. So to say that E&D is all my idea would be completely false. But the E&D was put together to originally start out at WrestlePort.
It's gained, and I guess you could say, I want to say fame, even though it's definitely helped everybody's careers involved.
Oh, yeah. You originally got me and TJ Boss, who was doing shows up in Spartanburg. We barely hung out or, talked to each other. And you got a young Zuka King who's just started out in his first year. And then you got Nick Kismet and Jet Black. Individually, we're all kind of doing our own thing. When we finally came together as a group, definitely got noticed more, but different promotions in the Carolinas and the Georgia area, Virginia area.
I've filmed for OSCW. I still do that, and continually your group is like one of the biggest like heat generators there. Like you guys, always get a response from the crowd. It's pretty amazing.
That's the one thing about the E&D that I think we stick out for. We stick out a lot of is because we're not the group of guys that's going out there dancing, kissing babies and shaking hands. We're a refresher for a lot of fans that aren't into the whole babyface heel gimmick anymore, where there's a good guy or bad guy, cheer for the good guy, boo for the bad guy. We give that fan that, oh man, I can relate to this guy, or this guy actually makes some sense in what he's saying. And the fact that we actually say it, and we're not afraid to, get our hands dirty and do what we need to do to get ahead. And then again, it also helps with all the merchandisers that we have. People actually see the name E&D out there a lot more.
It's like a sea of E&D shirts every time I go to OSCW now.
Yes, it's a sea of E&D shirts, and it's a roll of cash in my pocket. So everything is good in the world.
Speaking of E&D merchandise, I know you've had a couple of shirts out, and you actually recently just had a DVD release.
Yes, I just had a Project E&D Volume 1. It's got the best of E&D pretty much. It's got shots that you've done in Charleston. It's got some shots in Columbia. It's got some backstage stuff that we've done, some little promos. We got T-shirts that you can get as well at soscustomtees.com. So we got our hand in the different avenues of merchandise. So
you were doing it big on the entrepreneurial front for sure.
Oh yes.
Next step, you've gotten E&D going. You're tearing up every single venue. I mean, generally you put on, and everybody in the group actually puts on these amazing matches. I mean, I remember when the footage we shot of you versus Skylar went online. There was just everybody was calling that one of the best indie matches of the year from the tweets and everything I was seeing. You go from that to people are like, now even people say over on the other side of the U.S. that may not get to see you wrestle. They're watching you on YouTube and everything. What led to the creation of the podcast that you now have?
Me personally, I don't want to just do wrestling. I kind of want to be in entertainment, all aspects of entertainment. Like I've done commercials before. I've done spots on TV shows before. So doing the podcast was kind of like the next thing that made sense. Like, hey, I've got a good voice. I've got me and my friend. We have great conversations. People will probably listen to it. So that's came about it. And then Bob Keller came to me and said, if we got the Wrestle Force radio network, and he's like, it's do your show. So I took it.
It actually is a very hilarious listen. For those out there who haven't listened to it yet, it is called the Tizzy and Kizzy Show.
Yes.
And I'm not 100% sure. I know you've had I think 5 or 6 episodes, somewhere around there. Is there a certain release schedule for it? Like, do they come out a certain day a week, or how do you release these?
When we first started, we were only recording one episode at a time, and then we realized we weren't getting together soon enough to make another episode. So we started doing 2 at a time, and it's not really a certain schedule or a certain date that they would come out or air. It's just you really gotta like our page on Facebook, you know, the Tizzy and Kizzy Show page, and we will tell you when another episode's coming up. Right now we've got 5 episodes down. We got 1 more episode that's actually already recorded that should be out within the next few days. And then maybe we'll do 2 more episodes for the season, you know, take a little summertime break, you know.
Basically, by the time they finish listening to this, they should head over to the Tizzy and Kizzy Facebook page, and hopefully a new episode will be released.
Yes, by the time you hear this, yeah, this should be released. And if you haven't liked the page, go like the Tizzy and Kizzy Show page.
Yeah, I know. Like, why wouldn't they? I mean, come on.
Yeah, or you're going to get on the list.
Nice Chris Jericho reference right there.
Of course, of course.
So now we finished the first part of the documentary, and so far there's been some, I mean, in the 2 years I've heard a lot of great stuff. One of the complaints they have, I guess it's my fault, but they were like, it's too short.
That actually was not the worst complaint. The worst complaint's actually on me, when people are telling me that they were watching this with their family, and I randomly start dropping F-bombs out of nowhere. But that was the kind of the biggest complaint that I've got. But I thought the 45 minute was perfect. I think anything longer would have been a little too much. Anything shorter would have been cheating people. I thought 45 was perfect.
Yeah, I agree too. I mean, it's definitely a good starting off point. Yeah, I wondered about the language thing, because, I mean, me and you know, we didn't care, you know, we didn't try to censor anything with that, but when I saw the DVD cover and it said PG-13, I'm like,
Yeah, well, I was thinking of, like, you know, I was like, hey, if Beetlejuice can drop the F-bomb, I think I could drop at least 1 F-bomb and get away with PG-13.
Yeah. But yeah, no.
That was my thing.
It was definitely fun shooting, and I mean, I have a treasure trove, it seems, of just more footage that hasn't seen the light of day yet.
Well, we can definitely make sure they see the light of day somehow.
Right, yeah. I've got this, you know, to the listeners that don't know, I've got this giant flash drive that probably has, 3 to 4 days worth of footage. It's a bunch of amazing stuff, like Kevin Phoenix and doing an autograph signing in a bong shop.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, if you want to sell, they want me to sell tickets for a family show in a bong shop. Yep.
Yeah, Kevin, and you know the X-rated version, Kevin Phoenix getting dressed.
I don't remember this.
That was the night of I don't remember the promotion.
Was it Myrtle Beach?
No, the North Carolina one.
Okay, all right, the Mount Ariel. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that one.
I'm gonna have to check out this footage. I'm gonna have to check this footage out.
Like, well, this is kind of awkward.
Yeah.
There's all that great footage, and then obviously you're doing big things with E&D. Heat getters for sure. Since you've started that, has there been any, I guess you could say, over-the-top fan reactions? Like you know, the old fabled stories about the grannies with the knives or whatever?
Nothing that bad. I think personally, though, I think the last 2 shows I've gone to, I made a little kid cry. So that kind of hits me a little bit, but I'm like, yeah, whatever, it's wrestling. That's what you came here for, kid.
You know what? He's going to carry that memory for the rest of his life, so you did something right. You're definitely leaving an indelible impression.
Yes, of course.
Is there anything else you'd like to promote? I mean, obviously, you've got the websites. I believe the movie that if you were listening and you check the Creech Creative page, you know, you can rent the first documentary for free for 1 week. But now, if they want to buy a hard physical copy, because, you know, you're definitely going to want it. It has an awesome cover, and it has bonus trailers and all that good stuff. Where can they go to buy that, other than, you know, obviously at any event that you are wrestling at?
Any event that I'm at, or you can personally message me on Facebook, Kevin Phoenix. We are working right now on working with SOSCustomKeys.com to get that out, and they will actually distribute it. But other than that, man, just Facebook, Twitter, all that good stuff. Go to wrestling shows. That's all I can promote, you know.
To those who don't know, what is your Twitter account?
The Twitter account is the number one Phoenix. So the real one Phoenix.
Make sure you follow him at the real one Phoenix, and make sure you buy the movie. The movie's great. I haven't seen the E&D one yet, but I've shot some of it apparently at OSCW, and it's phenomenal. I'm assuming your turn is on there, right?
No, the turn's not on it. Turn is not on it. I gotta say some things for Volume 2, you know. I was like, we'll put certain things in there. Like I definitely want to put some of that. You got great footage of the protest. That was great. Oh man, that was awesome.
Yeah. On the page, we definitely wanted to, when we were editing it, we're like, let's make it kind of like the DX invasion. So you know, we found like the kind of same type of music that we were looking for, and everything went together perfectly.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, then there's going to be a phenomenal part 2 coming for sure, because that probably your promo was one of my favorite promos that I've ever heard. I just thought it was delivered. Even Dave Sheridan was impressed. Fortunately, he couldn't make us on this one, but yeah, I showed him that last year. He was like, "Holy shit!"
Awesome.
So yeah, great stuff, and obviously there's going to be more stuff coming. I want to thank you again for joining me so late at night. And
that's all right.
Once you finish, you know, your wrestling career and you have your pile driver pizzas ready, we will gladly have you on to promote that.
All right, thank you so much, man.
Welcome back, guys. Hope you enjoyed that interview. That is pretty much going to wrap it up for us today. Want to thank everybody again, and I especially want to thank Christoper for coming on and being our co-host today.
You can do, Kevin, if you would give him my respects. I enjoyed the documentary, and I think he seems like a really cool cat. And I'd love to see him wrestle one day. So, just give him my regards, if you will.
I take that as a compliment since I made it. But I will definitely pass that on to him for sure.
Okay, cool, man. Right on.
All right, and thank you again for co-hosting with me today. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, no worries, man. I'd like to do it again. I'm sorry I couldn't do it the last time, but things happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, just keep me in the loop, and if you need to fill in again, let me know, and I'll be happy to go on in and chat with you.
All right, well, if you have nothing else, that is going to do it here for me and Christoper. Next week, I will be back with another special guest co-host and a as-yet unannounced guest. So thanks again for listening, guys, and we'll see you next week.
Shut up and sit down.
Thank you for listening to The Dave and Creech Show. The views and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely those of Dave and CJ. These views and opinions do not necessarily represent those of Creech Creative Productions or any of its affiliates.